Clerk Paul, can we call the committee held to order, please?
Lennon.
Here.
Boywood.
Here.
Leisure.
Here.
Fate.
Here.
Pabon.
Here.
Ruiz.
Here.
Aaronella.
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Okay, before we start our presentation tonight, I put on each of your desks a resolution. It did not make it in time for the agenda, but we need to send it to the state for the baseball parade on April 29th. So I need a straw poll vote of approving the resolution. Alderman Lennon?
Yes.
Alderman Boywood?
Yes.
Alderman Leisure?
Yes.
Alderman Fate?
Yes.
Alderman Pabon?
Yes.
Alderman Ruiz?
Can I throw the first pitch again?
I have to catch it, so if you're going to hit me in the knees, no.
Then yes.
Okay. Alderman Aaronella?
Yes.
Alderman Carmichael?
Yes.
Okay, so we can then bring that up later, March, to pass it at the consent council. In the meantime, we'll sign it and send it to the state so we can get that. Okay, so tonight, we have our CAT and RMS presentation from the fire, police, IT, and ETSB representatives are all present. Who's going to lead it off?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hello, everyone, members of the City Council.
You'll have to use the mic, please, Chris, because it's on camera, and they have to catch it on the camera.
Hello, everyone, members of City Council. My name is Chris Caniglio. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief. I'm also the Chairman of the ETSB Board, which is the Emergency Telephone System Board, also known as the 911 Board. I, along with Wayne Sador, who is the manager of the Berwyn Emergency Communications Center, and Police Department Division Commander Dave Green, and Executive Officer Lou Mazza, would like to give you a quick overview of the rigorous process we took to come to our recommendation to purchase Mark 43 as our new CAD system, which stands for Computer Aided Dispatch, and PD's RMS, which stands for Records Management System. If there's any questions along the way from City Council, please stop us at any time. We'll try to answer them the best way that we can. This slide represents some of the individuals, along with the fire and police chief, and the ETSB board members that played a role in the selection process. The ETSB board is comprised of a seven-member board appointed by the mayor and the consent of City Council, with the authority that we provide the management and operation of Berwyn's 911 system in accordance with the Illinois Emergency Telephone System Act. The Berwyn ETSB board oversees equipment and processes which extend from receiving emergency calls for services through dispatching and the management of said calls. So what that entails is we basically take care of the CAD system, the phone systems, the fire alerting system, PD and FD radio communications such as the house-based radio stations, mobile rig radios, and portable handheld radios, along with the computers that are mounted in the rigs and used in the field. To give you a kind of a basis of what the ETSB board does. Because all of us here are at different technical levels, please allow us to define some of the key terms to help all of us understand these products a little better. Executive Officer Lou Mazza is going to take you through some of the PDRMS terms, and Wayne is going to give you an overview of the timeline when we acquired our current CAD and PDRMS system, which is currently Capers, and when we started having problems with Capers and then began our process to select the replacement for CAD and PDRMS. Wayne is also going to define and explain the importance of the cloud feature as it pertains to CAD and RMS. Division Commander Dave Green will take you through the process of why Mark 43 was selected for PDRMS. And at this time, I would like to give you a quick overview of what CAD is. So CAD, it all begins with CAD. A 911 call comes in to our dispatch center. Our dispatch center uses the CAD software to create and prioritize calls for service, to identify the status and the location of PD and FD and EMS units, and effectively dispatch responders and provide updates for situational awareness, and also be alerted to comments and cautions at the location that is of vital importance to the first responders. Also, it creates a very important timestamp for documentation of the activity. Also used in the field for our PD and FD units to send and receive messages and to interact with the calls that they were assigned to update status and any CAD notes that need to be updated in the system. Also for our dispatch, it provides any additional future calls that are coming in for service and for unit availability. So all this information that is being organized by CAD will be automatically fed into PD's and FD's RMS. That information is converted into a variety of analytics. Studying those analytics can be very useful in improving our services to the citizens. So at this time, let me introduce to you Executive Officer Lou Mazza, and he's going to take you through PD's RMS.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Louis Mazza, the Executive Officer for the Police Department. Records Management System, as we call it, RMS. Records Management System generally allows records, incidents, reports to be entered, maintained, retrieved, and analyzed with the Police Department. Software primarily used by sworn personnel to initiate police reports, documenting locations, along with the involved entities, vehicles, or property. Also, used by both sworn and civilian personnel to quickly retrieve completed reports and associate them with their common locations, people, or property. Document and track court activity and dispositions, analyze past data to identify trends in criminal activity. NIBRS, which used to be called UCR, Unified Crime Reporting, is now National Incident-Based Reporting System. Federally mandated reporting requirement to provide statistics on criminal incidents which reported to law enforcement agencies. Modern records management systems allow for data to be exported into a format that can be submitted directly to the state for processing or can submit the information directly. Now Wayne Sidor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wayne Sidor. I'm the Manager of Emergency Communications for the city and the Secretary for the Berwyn ETSB. So I'll be going over the timeline of events that led us to our procurement process for the new CAD system. Many people in our industry would say that CAD is the single most important piece of software for a public safety agency because it allows us to process calls for service and know the status of every responder in the field. But I would go a step further to say that CAD is the single most important piece of software for an entire community, because when someone's in need of emergency assistance, seconds save lives. The telecommunicator who fields the emergency call will enter the location and relevant information into the CAD system so that the dispatcher can start sending help as soon as the call is updated. For this reason alone, CAD's not only an essential part of our city's operation, but it's something that needs to work correctly all of the time. Because just imagine if it didn't. Unfortunately for my team, this isn't something that we have to imagine because it is the reality of our current system. Capers has been our CAD system since 2007 when it replaced ValorCAD. For the first several years of our partnership, things ran fairly smoothly. The system was perfectly capable of meeting our needs, and support was responsive in correcting most issues. In 2015, this relationship started to degrade. Capers was previously a holding of Intelligent Solutions Incorporated, but in 2015, ownership transferred to the current CEO. Within a year, Capers performed its first software update on our system as a standalone company, and the results were disastrous. After the update, we found that the system would freeze for users for approximately 10 seconds out of every 5 minutes. When we brought this to their attention, they advised that our computers were outdated and needed to be replaced, which we did, which did not solve the issue. They then blamed our network, which caused the Berwyn IT department to conduct an analysis with negative results, and the ETSB brought in an independent consultant who was also unable to find any fault in the city's network. For over 7 years, Capers has been aware of this issue and has been unable to offer any solution. While this alone would be reason enough to seek a new CAD system, it's only the first of several examples of Capers failing service. The next year, field units were no longer able to use the system to run license plates, names, driver's licenses, or other statewide inquiries. To their credit, they have solved this issue this year. In 2018, Capers advised that they would no longer provide backups of our data, so the ETSB had to contract this out for additional cost. In 2019, when our servers reached the end of their service life, Capers informed us that they would no longer service our hardware, which then required the ETSB to contract a third-party company for IT support. It was also during this time that the RMS database started to freeze intermittently, which then required both CAD and RMS to be completely offline for several minutes while Capers did a restart of their services. By this point, it was made abundantly clear that Capers had no desire to improve the quality of their product or attempt to restore any trust that we once had in their company. The Berwyn Police Department and ETSB then jointly began researching potential replacements. Between 2019 and 2021, we met with several vendors and viewed multiple demonstrations. While most systems perform similar functions, each company spends the most of their demonstration saying what sets their product apart. And thus we had some difficulty comparing these services directly. Because of this, the ETSB then established a 3-member CAD committee consisting of representatives from the police department, fire department, and the emergency communications unit. Based on the recommendations from the city's IT department, the committee sought to focus their search on cloud-based solutions to remove physical servers from the city's network environment and to pursue software-as-a-service options. Due to the characteristics of this purchase, the committee determined that a request for qualification would be the best selection process. From the lessons learned from Capers regarding vendor stability, responsiveness, and technical capability, in the following months, the committee decided on the features that each entity deemed essential for a new CAD system. And in September of 2022, an RFQ was sent to 33 CAD vendors, along with a 225 variable checklist. 9 of these 33 vendors responded, and based on their responses, 4 were selected to provide references from customers who are actively using the system at their agency. Upon reviewing the statements from the vendors' references and determining the availability of live demonstration from vendors, the committee selected 2, Tyler Technologies and Mark 43, to provide demonstrations. As you can see on the slide, the committee ultimately recommended Mark 43 to the ETSB, who then approved it by unanimous vote. Our main considerations in making this decision boiled down to features, confidence in the availability of the service, and price. Both Tyler and Mark 43 have extensive features and a user-friendly interface. Both were able to adequately generate and update calls for service, share data and communicate with field units, provide unit recommendations, and produce accurate reporting. The committee was confident that either service, based on functionality alone, would meet the needs of all city entities. As a cloud-based system, the availability of the service and our data are of the utmost importance in providing emergency services. Both Tyler and Mark 43 operate on the Amazon Web Service GovCloud, which is used by over 7,500 government agencies in order to deploy cloud-based services with the security, compliance, and reliability that's to be expected from a government service. Tyler implements their product by having one instance of a customer's production environment and one instance of their testing and training environment available in the cloud. If there should be a failure within that single instance, the customer would experience approximately 4 hours of downtime while the instance is rebuilt from backup data. Tyler offers an enterprise version of their cloud product that boasts greater redundancy, but at significant cost. Next slide, please. Mark 43, on the other hand, offers this redundancy in their base product by replicating a customer's data and the application across multiple availability zones and 2 regions of the country. Next slide, please. In terms of connectivity, the CAD committee was in agreement that Mark 43 had the better strategy to ensure the maximum availability of their product. The third factor in the committee's decision was pricing, which will be discussed later in the presentation. But at this time, I'd like to introduce Division Commander David Green, who will describe the police department selection process for the records management system. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. David Green, Division Commander for the Berwyn Police Department. As you already heard, we had several issues with Capers since 2007. I personally put this myself. One of the issues with porting over of data from the CAD system to RMS. The system crashing, being corrupted or lost data. Conflicts with having analytics, correct analytics, NIBRs, total police reports disappearing in the system, poor redaction when it comes to FOIAs, no scalability to portable devices, and poor case tracking for investigators. With the systems of Sourcewell, a list of candidates was developed. based on the needs of the police department, and 3 final vendors were chosen. It's Tyler, Mark 43, and Soma. There were several web-based Zoom demos that were conducted initially. Soma was eliminated soon after due to poor communications with the Berwyn PD, leaving only Tyler and Mark 43. Tyler and Mark 43 also both hosted tech demos at the Berwyn Police Department. And they were attended by, we tried to include as many people that would be affected as possible with it. We were open all levels of our police department, including the fire department, the 911 board, and the Berwyn IT department. And as far as the demos go at the PD, as you heard Wayne say, that both performed similar. However, only Mark 43 provided a hands-on demo at our police department. We actually could see as far as generating reports or reviewing the CAD. Not relying on demos alone, the Berwyn PD requested Tyler and Mark 43 both provide current police agencies that have a cloud-based server solution implemented. There are none in Illinois. Tyler has a presence in Illinois, but it's server-based. The Berwyn IT department wanted to get away from that. They wanted us to go to a cloud-based solution. Through several meetings, we talked with Chief Simaglia, who approved us traveling out of state in order to accomplish those goals. We were looking for, at first, size comparison to our police department. Tyler provided 2, their top 2 was Annapolis Police Department in Maryland and Jersey Village in Texas. Mark 43 provided the following. There's actually a list a little bit longer than this, but was more in line with our police department. You had Concord Police Department, California, Miramar in Florida, Richmond, California, Salem in Oregon, and Fort Myers PD in Florida. So Deputy Chief Guy Papa, myself, Executive Officer Louis Mazza travel out of state in order to go do these site visits. In the site visits, we sought to interview police administration, police supervisors, dispatch supervisors and dispatch personnel, record supervisors, patrol officers, and field training officers. You can see the size comparison. When we went to Annapolis, they have 124 sworn and 12 dispatchers full-time. So Tyler's first cloud server deployment is Annapolis Police Department. You can see on here, 2018, 2019, research signed a contract. Implementation begins in 2019. Took about 18 plus months to actually get it up and going. It did have some issues initially, and with those issues, for whatever reasons, Tyler charged them a little bit extra above the contract in order to get them going. So some of our findings in Annapolis. So one of the big mistakes that Tyler did is that they allowed the Annapolis Police Department IT to set up the Amazon AWS cloud server. There was communication issues between the cloud server and Tyler's product. And again, this Amazon AWS is a single cloud solution, so if anything happens to that single solution, then the entire thing goes down. They also had issues tagging with Axon. I know we recently voted on Axon. It was not, they were having issues with compatibility. And also porting of data from incident reports to case reports to arrest reports. Also, records was heavily inundated, having to deal a lot of their time with entity collisions. Entities can be an offender, they can be a victim, or whatever. So when you have similar names, sometimes with current caper system, you may have 15, 20, 30 names. It's actually all the same person. So they were having similar issues with that. Also, there was severe data lag between the Amazon server and what they were getting over at their police department. You can see. So they would type something, there would be delay, or receiving information, they would have delays. At Annapolis also, cyber CAD training was about 40 hours. Dispatcher says it wasn't easy, and once they learned it to train a trainer, they had a hard time teaching other people. Also, the same thing with the record management system. When it came to police officers, field training officers, they had a hard time too. Once an officer learned something, they had a hard time figuring out the system and trying to teach it to new officers or officers that had been job go well. Dispatchers, if you ever stopped and checked out our dispatch center, you see that each location, each like cubicle or whatever, it has multiple screens set up. And that's necessary for the incoming data or dispatching out calls or things with fire. So they were having issues with that, configuring that. And one of the biggest problems that we saw there that we were totally blown away with is that tire terminals, dispatch terminals, would suddenly go down without notice. And this was, again, tied to Tyler's product and tied to their deployment of the Amazon AWS that they had an app to set up. Also, anybody that signs on the computer here, your computer remembers your profile. That's how things get, it builds your personal data up on the screen there so that you can function at work. Well, it's still unexplained to this day. Entire user profiles are being deleted. Tyler was blaming it on the servers, never got a correct answer, and it took up to 30 minutes to rebuild. So a combination of those two things, between terminals crashing and trying to rebuild it, you can imagine an emergency situation. Everything, you're on paper, you're scrambling. It's very dangerous, and I believe that lives can be lost doing that. Also, the system had poor analytics and redaction when it came to dealing with foils. So the next one that they chose was a department of significantly smaller size, was the Jersey Village Police Department. They have 26 full sworn and 2 dispatchers, 2 dispatch terminals. Again, for whatever reasons, they deployed, again, a single server solution that Tyler at this time set up. Now, not the terminals exactly going down, but they were losing connectivity from 8 to 11 minutes without warning, because there was no, again, redundancy built into that. Again, they were experiencing poor analytics and redaction. They were having limits on file sizes. So a lot of times with our community service officers, they'll take pictures and they'll attach it to police reports. For some odd reason, with Tyler's system, they limit that, the file sizes, which could be cumbersome in trying to go in there and redo the size of the photos or documents in order to meet what they'll allow in. The experience, however, was better than the Annapolis Police Department, but still not acceptable. In Fort Myers. So initially when we were planning with Fort Myers, it was before Hurricane Ian. So we had planned to go out there sooner, got hit with Hurricane Ian, and that kind of postponed things, and we waited for things to calm down for them. We had a contact there, and he notified us the moment that we could go there. It was still a mess when we got there. They have 226 sworn police officers, 6 dispatch terminals, 6 dispatchers per shift. Like I said, they experienced a hurricane. Now, a test of the system here of March 43, they had 2 fiber incoming network data lines to their police department. 2 of those went down because of the hurricane. They had to rely on cellular backup, and it held up. So, and it just, not to get too much into it, but if we're talking about lives lost, these dispatchers, while they're trying to coordinate with officers and everything, they're literally on the phone with these people as they're dying there. So if you can imagine, as they're trying, going through that traumatic event, everything going down would be a lot worse and terrible. So they, like I said, Tyler has a redundant solution, just in case one server does go down, it's rebuilding, or something is updating. On our end, we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't really know that it was going on. All you know that everything's functioning fine. Talking with different levels of personnel at Myers Police Department, Fort Myers, they were all said a lot of positive things. Our records management system is easy to use with scalability to portable devices, iPhones, iPads, and Android devices. What does that mean for us? Well, if you look at those tough books that we have in the car, it costs several thousands of dollars. There'll be savings there if we move more towards tablets, and we can do reports on there, on the fly, and it communicates to the record management system. Report writing is easy to understand and teach to officers, especially some officers that are resistant to change. They were open and were able to understand the new system. Dispatchers were pleased with the CAD program and their screen setups. The CAD there that remembers that their personal configurations, so when they log in, it does populate all the screens, so there's not too much configured when they sit down. For Fort Myers, it's easy to track from investigations from patrol to detectives. And for Detective Bureau, it's easy to manage those cases. Records management, entities are generated by the officers, and the records department are the ones that they still got to do a little cross-checking, but you don't have that many collisions. One of the most impressive things too about Fort Myers is that by their design, using Mark 43, they went paperless. If you can imagine all the storage space, eventually we went to something like that. Also, with NIBR submissions, 0 or near 0 in that, and still requires somebody from records to verify, but it gives the records people less things to do regarding that. Redactions, they do use Adobe Acrobat there for redactions. No issues working with Axon as far as tagging videos. Records management system integrates with outside software with no reported issues. They also have ShotSpotter there, something I'm not sure if Berwyn ever go to, but we were able to see samples when we were there. If they get shots fired in an area, it automatically locates the cars on the street where it's at the same time it notifies dispatch. So you get greater response times to those kind of calls. Their records management system also has pre-configured reports. An example would be like a standard type of alarm call, where officers just click a couple things and the report's done. So it's not just alarm, but you could also pre-configure some basic level reporting. Analytics requires data to be pulled and interpreted by a data analyst. CAD RMS is integrated to a fusion type center. So there, besides, we're pretty impressed with the police department. We're shown they have a fusion center. Chicago has a fusion center. State Police has a fusion center. So, and they are running off Mark 43 there. And it was pretty advanced. You would have to see it in person, but they had a gigantic room, all these different screens, everything, touchscreen, everything. They could rewind stuff in real time. If you had, crime in a certain area, you could rewind time to see, possibly what cameras in that area, what they may have recorded, buses that may have traveled in that time, maybe pick something on cameras on the bus. So we took our findings from Mark 43 in Tyler, and we shared it with the 911 board, dispatch, Berwyn Fire Department, and Berwyn IT Department, with each agency visit, both Tyler and Mark 43. And it was apparent to get the most out of CAD and RMS that the vendors need to match. And what I mean by that you don't have a mismatch. Say you have Tyler CAD and Mark 43 RMS. It's not going to port over the data as much as you would have the same vendor with the software communicating on easier. So you get out of that, you get concise analytics, and like I said, porting over data from CAD to RMS and RMS back to CAD. In Annapolis, Tyler was a complete disaster on all levels. CAD, RMS service outages are not acceptable, and Tyler, in their implementation, when they go to the department, they start setting up, it takes about 6 months longer than Mark 43. It was apparent that the vendors need to match. Like I said, Mark 43 began as an Amazon AWS solution company. Tyler's main strength are physical-based servers, is exactly what the Berwyn IT department wanted to get away from. Mark 43 is native NIBRs up front, so when we are populating the entities in there, it forces the officer to enter the correct information up front, so it is less burdensome on our records department to do that. Mark 43 is easy use in report writing. Templates give officers ability to generate reports up to 60% faster. Mark 43 was the only vendor to offer hands-on demos, as I said earlier, and Tyler's was not. Customer service between Tyler and Mark 43 reported both being good. Mark 43 is the only vendor that is native cloud-based solution. While it has needed backup redundancy to ensure a stable system, limiting the possibility of the system going down, even with one server rebuilding or deploying updates. Mark 43 was able to provide a stable product, witness live in the field. Mark 43's CAD RMS capabilities far exceeds that of our current CAPERS program. The technical jump from CAPERS Mark 43 will be a secure decision for the current and future needs of the Borough Police Department for many years to come. And the clear recommendation is Mark 43 CAD RMS for the Borough Police Department.
Okay. So that all boils down to how much? So we're going to go over some of the pricing right now. You'll see the pricing for Tyler there. The blue heading represents their standard cloud-based system, AWS. Just to break that down, they gave us the pricing on CAD standalone, RMS standalone, and then the combined, they give you a discount if you do both. So that blue heading, that comes down to a 3-year contract of $1.258 million for a 3-year contract. So something to be noted here, that standard cloud-based system, as Wayne stated before, has a 4-hour 4-hour recovery time for cloud, which is quite a long time in our world. So the next one, which is the green heading, is their enterprise. And again, that's broken up the same way, and it's a 3-year contract for $1.45 million. Enterprise is better. It is better system. However, it's a 1-hour recovery rate, which again is quite a long time in our world of life and death situations. So this is Mark 43's pricing. The 3-year contract has $1.1 million, and at the bottom you'll see some options that we are considering. If we do go with all those options, the total amount would be $1.255 million for their pricing, and this is our comparison. Now you'll see the top one is the top one is the enterprise, and the bottom one is the standard for Tyler. And Mark 43 comes in between, comes below the standard deployment for Tyler, and more importantly, or just as important, if not more important, Mark 43's recovery rate is a matter of seconds, which is huge for us. There's no question that in life and death situations, as far as we're concerned, they're the only option. So at this time, we hope that the members of City Council will approve our recommendation to purchase Mark 43 as Berwyn's new CAD and PD RMS solution. Thank you very much for your time.
Before we open it up for questions, that is on the council agenda under I-1. But Chief Hayes, did you want to talk about the fire department portion?
I think you should take any questions on the Mark 43
Okay,
and RMS before that,
okay.
if there are.
Alderman, any questions on the Mark 43 CAD RMS? Again, that's only PD RMS, so, but it's CAD for both. Anybody questions?
Just a general question, what is the typical longevity of a CAD system? I know we've had the one that you're replacing now for 16 years, but what is the typical longevity of them? Okay.
So when we talk about longevity in a CAD system, we were lucky to last 15 years with CAPERS. Usually after 10, our consultants usually recommend us to see what else is out there. Our previous system, Valor, that was with us pretty much since just before 2001 when we moved into the new police department. And before then it was paper and pen. So we've been very fortunate over the years to stick with one main vendor. But this does seem like, based on the past experience we've had with the system, that it is time for a change.
And then what would be the longevity for this new system? What can we expect from it?
So we've already, so what we brought for you today is the 3-year contract, but we've already started talking about what happens after that. So we're trying to secure pricing for years 4 and 5 and down the road. The benefit of the cloud system is that, if it doesn't meet our needs, that data is easily exported into whatever the next vendor is. Our initial data conversion 15 years ago with CAPERS had a lot of problems. Again, it was newer technology at that point. So now, most companies are kind of on the same page with that data conversion, and so it won't be as much of a hassle moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Chief Hayes?
So that part, that question there on the fire side is a little different. Over the last 3 years, we've seen our vendor, different vendors been bought by bigger companies twice in the last 4 years. We're seeing that a lot in the fire side of this. So briefly, what's going on right now is currently we have emergency reporting as our RMS. I came to you about 4 years ago because our previous vendor was bought by ESO Solutions, and they discontinued supporting the software that we had. Now, emergency reporting has been bought by ESO Solutions, and we received notice that they will stop supporting that software. So we were actually, unlike I also serve on the ETSB board, we were happy with our vendor. However, we were forced to look elsewhere. So that being said, we find a really good opportunity to find a system that provides us more. And I'll start by some of those things that we are required to track: our fire records, fire hydrants, personnel, equipment. These are all required mandates for us to track. And most importantly, emergency care, patient care reporting. So when we sought out to find a new vendor, we had a committee just of fire personnel because that's all we were looking at. Later we went to IT with our recommendation and made sure that they were okay with it. So we had 2 members, Chris and myself, that were members of the ETSB, a battalion chief and a paramedic who is very versed in the patient care report side. And we looked at 3 vendors who most closely fit the needs of our residents. And quite honestly, they were all pretty good, all very good. But the 3 major differences I'll list for you right now. We are able now to merge our fire inspections with these systems. One of the 3 vendors, Tyler, again, they are unable to do that. We'd have to seek another third-party vendor. They also do not have 2-factor authentication, which was a big deal. Image Trend, who we did choose, provided the most, and I'll get into them after. In the middle was First Due, and they provided everything except for Image Trend, who we are recommending is going to be the sole vendor for Loyola. For those of you that know, Loyola oversees all of our patient care reports and all of our EMS. We are governed by them. That doesn't mean we can't have another vendor, but Image Trend is the sole source. They provide a combined fire EMS system, and they are the only one to do that. So we have this unique opportunity to not only go with the lowest of the 2 that fit our needs, the lowest bidder at $110,590 as opposed to $117,900. And again, with a more seamless match with Loyola. So that's going to be our recommendation. And if there's any questions, I can answer those now too.
Questions on this portion? Okay, hearing none, do we want to hear from Joe Fitzgerald regarding the ARPA expenditures on this? Joe, do you have anything to add to that? Based on what we budgeted for ARPA?
Below budget on ARPA, it was at 1.9 million that came in at, with the combined efforts of taking the CAD side with the PD side and ETSB side. A lot of costs were, a lot of value was captured in the implementation. So instead of having 3 separate sites, we're coming in as a combined pricing and implementation.
So we'll be under what we set aside from ARPA?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Any questions for Joseph on that? Okay, do we have anybody else that needs to present? IT, is there anything that you guys wanted to add? Kevin, you good? We have the representatives from Mark 43 here. Is there anything that you folks wanted to say?
Mayor Lavero, members of City Council. My name is Matt Paliga. I'm the president and one of the co-founders for Mark 43. I'm actually an original resident of Indian Head Park, and I live in the West Loop right now. So for us to have the opportunity to come back and support the city of Berwyn means a lot to us. Over the course of the procurement, it was captured in the presentation today, we feel that we are going to be wonderful partners for the agencies that we're going to be serving that are represented in this room. We, after deploying 200 agencies across the United States, feel that the way that we implement the software, support our customers, and make sure that we deliver from a technological perspective will ultimately deliver value for the community and the citizens of Berwyn. So we're extremely honored, humbled, and proud to be here today. We look forward to supporting everybody and to a long and enduring partnership with Berwyn.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Matt,
Yes.
for the record, could you spell your last name?
Polega.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions in general? The item for the fire department RMS is J5. So both the CAD RMS for the PD CAD system and PD RMS is up on I1, and the fire department RMS is under J5. Everybody cool? We have no questions? All right. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. With that, I have nothing left for the committee of the whole, so I'd ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Ruiz by Lennon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. See you back at 8 o'clock. Don't forget the cameras remain on.
You want to go? No F-bombs. I did good. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. We were just looking forward to it. helpful those two sessions, because when we were out loud, you know, then I made like a couple quick changes, you know, and that was it. You know.
Hey, Rich.
I think you guys did it pretty good.
She was ever excited.
For 60 minutes. It was in a hurry. That was a lot. They're building, so it's like this is the police station.
Building now.
Yeah, so you're gonna walk out around the building, around the corner, get them. But he said, I had them, they're all in the box ready to go. I forgot to bring them in.
Good job, guys. I couldn't have figured out the problem again.
Well, that means we did our job then. Yes. Yes.
can do like in 2
Hiding,
weeks.
hiding.
Why?
Put that flyer up there for you. You could just do that as an informational. I forgot it.
I know Pastor Glenn. So I think I could.
Well, this is the console, you've been here before. Want to sit with, you guys do a
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see ya.
How close to Windsor? Real close? They might be part of the depot project.
There. I told him that one, because it's narrow.
So that means you can say anything.
Clerk Paul, could we call the council meeting to order, please?
Lennon.
Here.
Boywood.
Here.
Leisure.
Here.
Fate.
Here.
Pabon.
Here.
Ruiz. Here. Aaronella.
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing? If we could please keep in our thoughts and prayers all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody from the audience wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address. Anybody from the audience? Alderman, anything for open forum?
Mayor, I have one thing. The Berwyn Public Library is having May is for mariachis on Saturday, May 6, 2023, from 2 to 4 at the Lincoln Middle School Mariachis and Mariachi Serenas are playing.
Okay, anybody else, Alderman? Okay, item C1, please.
Item C1 are the minutes of the Committee of the Whole and the regular meeting of March 14th, 2023.
I will make a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole and regular City Council meeting minutes for March 28th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate, to approve the Committee of the Whole and the City Council minutes for March 28th, 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item D1, please.
Item D1 is a communication from Public Works Director Schiller regarding the 2022 CDBG Roadway and Sewer Project Award, and a germane item was distributed earlier.
It is my motion that we concur with Director Schiller's recommendation to award the project, the CBDG Project Year 2022 Roadway and Sewer Replacement Project, to the lowest bidder presented on April 11th City Council meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Aaronella, to concur.
Excuse me, Mayor,
I'll give, yeah,
the germane item listed, who the...
I will give that in when I summarize your
All right,
your
thank you.
motion, yeah. Concur with Director Schiller's recommendation for the lowest qualified bidder, which is Lindahl Brothers, in the amount of $1,104,645 for the 2022 CDBG roadway and sewer replacement. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Boywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon. Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a communication from Mayor Lavero regarding a resolution regarding street closure for the North Berwyn Park District.
It'd be my motion to adopt the resolution, fix the necessary signatures, and send it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, who seconded? Pabon, seconded by Pabon, to adopt the resolution to fix necessary signatures and place on its way to passage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
Item I1 is a communication from the Emergency Telephone System Board requesting authority to purchase a CAD and RMS technology system.
I move that we concur with ETSB Chairman Chris Coniglio to purchase Mark 43 Inc.'s CAD and Police RMS technologies for a 3-year contract not to exceed $1,255,000, being funded through the American Rescue Act Plan.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with Deputy Chief Caniglio, and approve Mark 43 for the CAD and Police RMS Technologies for a 3-year contract not to exceed $1,255,000, funded through the ARPA monies. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J1, please.
J1 is a communication from Chief Semaglia regarding an intergovernmental agreement to provide an additional school resource officer to Morton West.
Mayor, I had a question on this one.
Yes, sir.
Did they provide some more context for why they're asking for a third SRO?
Actually, Superintendent Truesdale and Christy Kavanaugh from Morton West is here. If you want to answer that question, Superintendent.
Thank you. So we do have 2 school resource officers currently employed.
Could you please speak at the
Oh, I'm
mic?
sorry.
On video.
We currently do have 2 school resource officers assigned to Morton West High School. So among reasons why we're seeking a third is the sheer size of the campus. We added 100,000 square feet with the new freshman academy 5 years ago, and just to have the coverage, just truthfully what we see going on in the world, we want to make sure that we have protection for our students. Our school resource officers, I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at the information in your packet, but they're involved in a lot more things than just the sort of police presence for protection of everyone on the campus. I mean, we are a small city unto ourselves, about 4,000 people that come into the building every day. But our school resource officers do everything from home visits to in the classroom, work with students. They offer voluntary meetings for staff on situational awareness. A lot of initiatives that go beyond just having presence in the school to protect the safety of the campus. But I'll let Ms. Kavanaugh, if some other things you wanted to add as well.
Right, so in addition to just the school safety team that they're a part of and maintaining that opportunity for students and staff to feel safe, this year with the second RO, we've really been able to kind of embrace what a true school resource officer is supposed to be able to do, which is build those connections and make those relationships with students as well as staff. So in some of the documentation that I provided, I think that one of the things that we've seen a huge increase this year in is the number of presentations that they have made with teachers and students that have outreach to them. So that may look like a certain topic for a certain course. The teachers ask the resource officers to come and speak to that. They sometimes send students to them for different interviews. They participated in different videos and kind of public service announcements. So really establishing a connection where they're able to individually get to know both of the school resource officers instead of just see them as somebody else that's around the campus. So I think it was like 152 classroom visits this year alone, kind of coupled with the home visits that they work very closely with our student support teams on. We can consider them to be part of the student support team, and our student support teams are our social workers, our counselors, our dean's office, and they go out and they visit. We're at 429 this year alone, which even during COVID, when we first started this, the highest that we were at for that entire school year was 432, and this data is just up until March. So that it directly aligns with like all of our goal is to make sure that students are in school, learning and getting the resources they need in school. This year we implemented a new attendance intervention. So these home visits are directly correlated to that new incentive, which makes students and families, or brings us to the place where students and families are, where their homes, to help see what they need in order to get them back into the classroom. So this year alone, like the students that would fall under a heavy chronic truancy rate, we've reduced that by, at the high end, 65%, and at the low end, which is 15 full days of absence, by 16% just this year alone. So that is one of the greatest impacts that we've seen, and we would not be able to do that without that home visit and that work with the student support teams.
And so with this request, were you always anticipating that you would need a third, or is this due to like an increase in the need for a third RSO? Like when you asked last January for a second one,
I think, well, I'll speak for myself. When we asked last January,
or sorry, July.
last July, what we were feeling and what our school resource officer that we had at the time was kind of overwhelmed with, and that's part of the reason that I think that we see that there was only an opportunity for 37 classroom visits. Just if last year was the return from COVID and a lot of interactions and things that he was having, it wasn't enough for one person. So that's what led to this request last year for the second school resource officer. And this year we've been able to see kind of compounded what we're able to do and really fill that role, as well as kind of a dramatic need that there's a lot of areas of transition that we work with freshmen as they come from our feeder schools to our high school. So right now we have 2 people to kind of cover that entire campus, but really kind of focusing on that model of how this third person could really help support that freshman transition. Each semester they do about 20 presentations alone just with health classes, and there's lots of the freshman academy teachers want more, but unfortunately, you know, they do the best they can. It's about 19 per month right now that the 2 of them are able to offer in addition to these other services. Tim mentioned the situational awareness. One of our school resource officers working with the fire department and our school nurses are going to be able to start training our staff on Stop the Bleed and some of these other programs that not only our faculty want, our students that are part of the Safety Squad, which is a new student organized safety group, and then the Lunch on Blue. Students are asking for ways that they can continue to have opportunities to partner with the school resource officers, to be trained, to be informed, and to kind of mentor some of the younger students. So those are opportunities that the third resource officer can help us, achieve.
I guess there's just one other point I would make, and it's not necessarily in relation to your question, but we've sought to increase resources for students in the entire student support spectrum. We've increased from 10 guidance counselors to 12 this year. 3 years ago, we had 4 social workers in the building. This fall, we'll have 8. We've increased from 2.5 school psychologists to 4 school psychologists. So all of the services around student social emotional support and just supporting the whole child, we have sought to increase and continue to seek to increase because we see the need.
And my last question is, do you anticipate that you would potentially need a 4th moving forward?
I personally do not.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
So do I have a motion on J1?
I move that we concur with Police Chief Semaglia and approve the submitted intergovernmental agreement between Morton High School and the City of Berwyn, which would add a 3rd Morton West High School resource officer, direct the corporate authorities to affix the necessary signatures, and place it on its way to passage.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Roywood, to concur with Chief Semaglia and approve the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Berwyn and Morton West High School, and affix the necessary signatures, place on its way to passage, providing a 3rd resource officer in Morton West. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Nay.
Ruiz.
Before I give my vote, I just want to share that I had a great conversation with Principal Kavanaugh and Superintendent Truesdale, and I appreciate the efforts that they're making. We are obviously, our world is changing, and I am not in favor of metal detectors, but I understand the safety of our children and the need to make changes in our structural systems at schools. I would love to visit, as I mentioned, as student for the day, just to be able to experience what students are experiencing right now with the changes that have been made. So please, one day I hope to come and visit and just feel for myself how this change impacts a child and form my own opinion. And with that, I say aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
No.
6 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J2, please.
Item J2 is a communication from Chief Semaglia requesting permission to hire one probationary police officer from the lateral eligibility pool.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Michael Samaglia's request to contact the Fire and Police Commission to hire one probationary police officer from the current lateral eligibility pool of candidates.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with Chief Semaglia, allowing the hiring of one police officer from the lateral list. Contact the Police and Fire Commission for that opportunity. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Do we call the roll, please?
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
No.
7 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J3, please.
J3 is a communication from Chief Semaglia regarding revenue collections for the month of March 2023.
I move that we accept this communication from Police Chief Semaglia regarding the revenue collections for March of 2023 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to consider the communication informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J4, please.
J4 is a communication from Fire Chief Hayes requesting permission to purchase a new Pierce fire engine.
Chief Hayes.
Mayor and City Council, I just wanted to make everybody aware that this procurement was done and it was competitively bid and publicly awarded. Thank you.
Questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move that we concur with Fire Chief Hayes' request to waive the sealed bid process and authorize the agreement with McQueen Emergency to purchase a new Pierce Enforcer pumper with a cost not to exceed $768,000.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Roywood, to concur with Chief Hayes' recommendation and waive the sealed bid process, authorize the agreement with McQueen Emergency to purchase a new pumper, cost not to exceed $768,000. All those in favor, on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon. Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Chief Hayes, I believe that requires your signature, not mine, so, on the original, okay? Item J5, please.
J5 is a communication from Chief Hayes, a request to purchase a records management system.
I move that we concur with Fire Chief Hayes' recommendation to purchase Image Trend for Fire RMS software for a 4-year contract. This associated overall costs not to exceed $125,000, which will be funded through the American Rescue Plan Act under respective budgeted project number FD 2023002, which draws from U.S. Department of Treasury Expenditure Code 6.1, Provision of the Government Services.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Roywood, to concur with Chief Hayes' recommendation and allow the purchase of Image Trend for the Fire RMS for a 4-year contract not to exceed $125,000 to be paid from the ARPA funds. All those in favor, on the call of the roll.
Lennon.
Aye.
Roywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Fate.
Aye.
Pabon. Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J6, please.
J6 is a communication from Public Works Director Schiller with a resolution entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Mayor to Sign a Local Public Agency Funding Agreement for Federal Participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the Access to Transit 26th Street Streetscape Improvements."
Anybody with a motion?
Sorry, that would be me, but I lost my space, so if someone's ready to go. Make a motion that we concur with Director Schiller's resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a local public agency funding agreement for the federal participation with the Illinois Department of Transportation for the Access to Transit 26th Street Streetscape Improvements.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, second by Aaronella, to concur with Director Schiller and allow the mayor to sign the attached resolution approving the federal and state participation in the 26th Street project. All those in favor on the call of the roll?
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon? Louise?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J7, please.
J7 is a communication from Library Director Sheedy with an event request and a request for city services.
I'll make a motion to approve the summer reading kickoff event, and if we can send this information to the departments listed for services.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Aaronella, to concur with Director Sheedy and allow the summer reading program Saturday, June 3rd, and send it to the necessary departments for public services. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda is presented by Lennon, seconded by Carmichael. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Aldermanic committee meetings. Alderman Lennon.
Call it a chair.
Alderman Roywood.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leisure.
Call of the chair.
Alderman Fate.
Call the chair.
Alderman Pabon.
Call the chair.
Alderman Ruiz.
We're going to have a Public Works Committee meeting at the next council meeting, April 25th. It will start 1 hour before cow.
Alderman Aaronella.
My cleanup has been changed from April 15 to April 22nd.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair.
I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Carmichael, seconded by Lennon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Hold it down so you see the light.
IGA that doesn't have the draft mark on it.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
one that has to be signed. As soon as the mayor signs it, I'll get it over to the high school. Now I'll get it over to Mr. Truesdale and have him sign it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Doesn't need it, I don't
Okay, I
think.
don't think he needs it. I'll just have Mr. Truesdale sign it, then I'll have him send it back to me, and then I'll get you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
make sure she gets a copy.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Chief.